Southern troops, and welcome back to a brand new episode of the Simply Podcast. The podcast on which we pretty much discuss everything at this point. But we are looking to have some guests coming on soon, so stay tuned for that. Today I am joined by my co-host, yet again, by Mr. Remington. How are we today?
Absolutely fantastic. Glad to be back.
Nice. Apologies for no content for the last little period of time. I just couldn't be bothered. I was actually ill. I was ill for the last 2 weeks, so I've posted literally nothing. Don't feel sorry for me. I was just,
I don't.
Yeah. Okay, fine. So, yes, team, thank you so much for all the support on the previous podcast, and want to make sure that you are checking them out, and make sure you are hitting that subscribe button, because I love subscribers, and, if you subscribe, I love you. So, happy days. And make sure you're liking the podcast. And if you listen to this on Spotify, Apple Music, your Nan's TV, make sure you're following the podcast wherever you can. And share it wherever you can, because I love people that share it as well. So, happy days. Today we have something a little different. No, not really different, to be honest. It's kind of on par with kind of stuff that we usually discuss on the podcast. So, today we've got loads of Would You Rathers leading up to a story from myself, and then we've got Remy's queries at the end as well. So, yes, team, without further ado, we're actually going to just get stuck straight into this, because Remy wants to rush off to watch the United game. Imagine being a United fan.
Well, they're actually playing well for once.
Yeah, I suppose.
It's all right. Your lead at the top of the table's hanging on by a thread.
Yeah, so we got lucky yesterday as well.
It was a good match.
In fairness, it was a cracking match, but I would have preferred a comfortable 6-0 win. But
I mean, I'm sure we all would.
yeah, absolutely. So, and not to mention the game in hand as well, and we still have to play City, I think, in April, which is a little close to the end of the season. But yes. Anyway, what we've got today, team, we've got loads of Would You Rathers. Basically, I have come up with a massive list. We're not going to use all of these. I'll probably maybe post a couple of them on Twitter, the ones that we don't use, so you can all get involved. Basically, we're just going to take turns of asking these, and some of them are going to be probably a bit controversial. So make sure that you stay tuned for that, and give us your opinions or shout at us in the comments. Either or, it all works. So engagement, please. Yes, Remy, which one have you picked out of the list so far?
Well, the first one I'm going to go for here is, would you rather live 20 years with no regrets, or live 100 years with a lot of regrets?
Live 100 years with lots of regrets.
See, I was kind of hoping you would go the other one, because I give the exact same answer, because I define my life by the mistakes I've made. Because it's if you live a life of no regrets, how are you ever going to learn something? You don't regret anything. You don't change. You just go through the motions.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure if you choose the 20 years with no regrets, you're a cunt. That literally does cunty behaviour. So pretty much, I think, yeah, it's and in fairness, it's you live 100 years with lots of regrets. Once you've lived that 100 years, you did. Who cares?
You did.
So, yeah, exactly. So, it doesn't really matter at that point. You're dead. Suck it up.
I mean, it's the truth. You're not going to care what happens after you're dead. It's okay, the world's going. I don't care. I am checking out of life, mate.
Oh, dearie me. I feel like we're both in agreement with this, and I feel like we're going to be both in agreement with the one that I'm going to choose, by the way,
right.
Which is, would you rather always be 10 minutes late or always be 20 minutes early?
Well, considering you said what is it, a 11:30 start time for this morning, and I messaged you at 10 saying I'm ready to go. So I'm always early for absolutely everything. I can count on one hand the amount of times I've been late for work the last 5 years. I'm just never late.
Yeah, I'm going to be pretty much the same on this one as well. Always be 20 minutes early. I think if you want to be always 10 minutes late for everything, you're a psychopath. So pretty much, it's who in their right mind would choose to be late all the time?
I can think honestly of someone that's
Like,
late for everything, even his own streams. Can do you know who I'm thinking of?
you're not implying me because I'm always
No,
late for
I'm
my
not
streams.
implying you. I'm implying Andy.
Oh, right, yeah.
It's the worst timekeeping of anyone I've ever met.
Yes, but in order to be late for something, he actually has to do it in the first place. So, just say that's factually correct. You can't be late for something if you actually never do it.
You realize when he listens to this, he's gonna be sending you some very angry messages.
But it's true. You physically cannot be late for something if you never actually do it in the first place. So
I can't argue with that logic.
Yeah, I mean, in fairness, there was what was it? Oh yeah, this reminds me of a story actually. Not one of my stories. This is like from a comedian that I'd heard this from. So he made a bet with his missus, because basically he was getting a flight into Liverpool, and he told his missus that the flight was arriving at 11:30, and the flight was actually arriving at 12, but he said 11:30 because she's half an hour late for everything. So when she found this out, she was like, "Oh, what are you going on about? What was it?" And he told her the fact that he was late and stuff like that. And what they decided to do in the end was the next time that he was flying away for something, they make a bet, and the bet was right that that if she was late for the next time, she would have to go down on him for 30 minutes. But if she was on time, then he would have to go down on her for 30 minutes. Now, obviously, it comes to the point where they come to the I think it was like Manchester Airport or something like that that he was flying into, and he arrives there and she's not there, and she rings up. He rings up, was like, "What's going on? You're late or whatnot." And she basically says, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I've crashed the car and stuff like that." And the guy goes, "Oh no, I'm really sorry to hear that. Really sorry to hear that. But I'm also really sorry because you've lost the bet." So, I
mean, the game's good.
Like, yes, but right, then this is where it gets controversial here, right? She then says, "I'm not late. If I never go to the airport, I can never be late."
No. I'm sorry, that's bull.
Yeah, like, so she's been implying to the fact that she can only be late to the airport if she goes to that airport.
I'm going to say something, but I have to be careful how I word this. But Gasha specifically uses that kind of logic against me. Like, that's relationship 101 logic. Like, what is the easiest way to get out of something that I've said? She does that to me all the time. And to be fair, so do I.
Oh, dearie me. Oh, dear. Right, we'll move swiftly on from that one. So, Remy, do you want to pick another one from the list that you feel... this way around, I'm going to pick quite a lot of them.
I genuinely don't know if we're going to agree on this one. Would you rather detect every lie that you hear or get away with every lie that you tell?
I would prefer to get away with every lie that I tell.
Ooh, we have a disagreement. I'd rather be able to call out the bullshit that I hear, because especially in a working environment, when I know somebody is lying to me, but I have to play the politics of employment in the company and stuff like that, and just keep my mouth shut. I know somebody is lying to me, but I have to be professional.
Yeah, you know where my mind goes immediately, where I say get away with every lie that you tell, right? I immediately think of opportunities. So I could say for the...
You meet a girl, I'm an opportunist. Oh yeah, of course I'm 10 inches.
No, that wasn't the opportunities I was thinking of.
Eventually get into the bedroom, it's like, that's not 10 inches. Oh, it is. It's just empirical measurements. Different system.
That wasn't where I was going with this. I was on about like getting into like football matches for free and stuff. I was like, I've already paid. It's like, have you? All right, okay, on you go.
How did that ever work? You need a ticket of already paid.
You get away with every lie. So you go in through the front door.
Oh, so you just turn around and tell them, it's like, oh, I don't need a ticket, mate. Yeah, no, that's right. I work here.
I'm the king.
I'm one
right?
of the
You have to let me in. Yeah. Well, no one's gonna. Oh, yeah. Okay.
The
yeah.
short,
No, if I say I'm one,
man is the striker for Arsenal. Daryl the Barrel plays up front for Juventus.
Like that's the way I see it. I get away with everything. So in the sense of like I could just literally lie myself into the dugout if I wanted to. I think of opportunities. Like I feel like if you detect every lie, I feel like you'd end up being really distrustful of people.
Well, you wouldn't have to
in the
be.
end.
You wouldn't have to be distrustful because you would just know.
Yeah.
It's not being distrustful. You just like a little beacon, just like, and
Yeah,
like,
but it's kind of like
you're full of shit.
yeah, but I imagine the sense of like someone's trying to lie to help your feelings in some ways.
Yeah, but I don't like that. I like it when people are brutally honest with me. I really hate when people pander to me.
Yeah, I mean, in fairness, you would have known that Santa Claus wasn't real immediately.
Well, not if you get away with every lie you tell.
You
tell your kids, "Oh, Santa's real." 20 years later, they're going for an interview for some. Where do you see yourself in 5 years' time? Hopefully, working alongside Mr. Claus. Like, there's clearly some side effects to this.
You what would be really interesting, and probably break the universe, is if you could detect every lie and I get away with every lie and we met. Yeah.
But would that just mean that I would know but wouldn't do anything about it?
I don't know.
Or it would be the case, it would, if we both knew, you just wouldn't lie. Like, if you knew this person could detect a lie, you just wouldn't lie.
Probably. Well, that's an interesting. But the thing is, how would I know? Imagine we met as strangers and we just like, wouldn't know. And then I just tell you I'm the king, and you're like, fucking, no, you're not.
Spud turns around at the bar, sees my face. Ugh, fuck is that?
Just an enigma in the Matrix.
Alright, calm down, Tate.
Rightio. Right, whose turn is it? It's my turn.
Yeah, it's you. It's you.
Rightio. Now, I'm going to go this one because I said this one before. Would you rather be invisible or be able to fly?
Right. Do you have the ability to turn this off and on?
Oh, yes. Because you wouldn't be able to fly every single place.
See, here's the thing. I want to choose one, but I don't because I know what your answer's going to be.
Right. Shall I say my answer to this is I'd rather be able to fly because I feel like anyone that would pick to be invisible is a pervert. So I'm sorry, that's just my opinion. I feel like the only don't get me wrong, there's no good reason in my opinion to be
you could be the world's most successful bank robber.
And I know full well that this contradicts what my previous statement was of getting away with every lie, but I can't see there's any good reason to be invisible all the time. I
mean, there's bound to be ones, but our mind just immediately goes to those places. So is that more of a fault of the question, or is it just a fault of how our mind works?
Yes. So let's just clarify, Remmy. You'd rather be invisible?
No. I'd rather fly. I'd rather fly.
So if I changed your mind, and that's it.
Yeah, people at work listen to this. I'm just gonna fly. Don't worry, you're safe. I'm not a pervert.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I just do not see a actual good and ethical reason.
You would have to because you would have to dress pretty warmly to fly everywhere. Like goggles.
Yeah, but
mask.
I don't think you could get around the practicality that you would have with that. Like there'd be so much good things that you could do in the sense of being able to fly that you wouldn't always be able to say you want to get. I always go to football matches. I was like, oh, just hop the fence. I was just. Again, I'm saying
I'll just fly down, steal the ball, and run off.
I'm just saying for the fact that I can't think of any good ethical reasons to go invisible, and I'm just talking about breaking an entry.
It doesn't need to be ethical. You could fly down, kick a toddler, fly off. Are the police gonna really? This man appeared out of nowhere, kicked my baby, and flew off. I was like, okay,
why are we kicking toddlers?
We're going
on?
It's because oh yes, because we're debating being invisible or flying, but the ludicrous thing is the actual thing that can happen. There are bad people out there. There are people that would kick a toddler. I mean, there are a lot of children that come into my work and trust me, I want to kick them.
Like, what is stopping you from kicking a toddler now? Just the fact you can't fly away.
Yes,
Like,
because I can't get away with it. Do you know how many screaming babies come into your shop? Oh,
oh
I want to
dear,
punch them, but I
gosh, I
can't.
hope you're hearing this. Parenting 101 over here.
Oh no, if it's my own kid, I'm sure I'll like it. I can't get in trouble for saying it's not a thing. It doesn't exist.
Yeah, when you don't know
Look, sperm's so
what it
magic
means.
that just by saying it, gosh is pregnant. No, that's not how it works. I can't be mean to something that doesn't exist.
I can't believe like this wasn't even your reason for going invisible. It was just a reason for being able to fly. So what you want is people to actually see you kick the child and then
Yes,
fly
I
away
want
from
them
the
to
child.
know.
I can't believe that's. Oh my god.
It's more ethical. Because then you can't turn around and say, "Oh, he's doing that because he wants
How
to."
is that
sneak
ethical in any way?
It's more ethical than sneaking into the women's changing room, is it not?
Why are we talking about like comparing ethics here? This is
There's no ethical. You said there's no ethical reason to pick invisible. Well, I'm telling you, it's more ethical to kick a toddler than to spy on people.
Why is that going to become like the criteria of choosing to fly? Is you have to kick a toddler now?
Well, you have to look at the extremes of both ends. If you can't think of a good reason to be invisible, then you have to think of a bad reason of why somebody would pick fly.
I mean, the only good reason I can think of being invisible, and this is literally just comes down to sense of like terrorism, like the fact you'd be able to go into ISIS,
What you
and
said,
like
Asta?
yeah, I don't know, ISIS, and literally just like you could just get the leaders right there and then constantly. Like they changed command and you just get them and all of a sudden they become a bad omen to be
Yes,
a
because
terrorist.
this short man from Livingston is going to single-handedly end war in the Middle East.
That's the only reason. But that's the only reason I could see like being invisible is good in that sense.
I suppose. But then it's a case of like espionage can be a force of good or it can be a force of extreme evil. Like
Yeah,
you would know that there's some like government official here watching me, like creeping on me, like, oh yes.
Yeah, it's see, this is what I'm on about. There's ethical reasons for being invisible, or like the very, very few, very, very small. So being able to fly is just more beneficial. Like as well, like say for example, like if I was able to fly, I could stop people from like jumping off bridges and stuff like that. Before they get a chance.
Busy day. I know if I that's a
Yeah,
busy
but,
life.
but you could you would have the ability to actually stop that. Then it becomes about ethics.
Yeah,
if
but
you
Superman
would, but
is my
like
favorite character of all time. But that's a long day. That's a long existence. I'm perfectly happy.
I'm not saying you'll
sitting in my
be.
no, Spud. I'm perfectly happy to sit in my chair and debate the goodness of humankind. But in reality, no, I'm a scumbag. I want to sit here in my chair and talk about it. I don't actually want to go out there.
I mean, in fairness, we haven't actually said about how fast you would be able to fly.
Oh, like
you
you could fly at with all the force of like an easterly breeze.
Yeah, like you may be able just to be able to falling in style, for example, to quote Toy Story.
It would be so shit if you had the power to fly and you flew at walking speed.
Yeah.
Just imagine that's like you're not even flying like horizontal. You're just floating there vertically on your phone, like Magneto, just floating up the street.
Oh dear. Yeah. Right. Right. Okay. I'll never pass that one because that's a debatable one. It's your turn to ask one, but that was that's that's an interesting topic. Which one would you like to go for this time?
I don't know how you're going to answer this one because you're single, but it's a case that like, would you rather your partner outlive you or outlive your partner? I would 100% rather outlive Gasha.
I would probably be the same.
My reasoning behind it is that, and it's gonna sound hard, but I would be able to deal with it better. Like say we're both in our 80s, like Gasha pops off. That That's probably the worst way to say that.
He pops off.
Kicks the bucket. Like, I'm going to be heartbroken and devastated. But I think I'm going to be able to like cope with it better because gosh, she's a more emotional person than I. So I would rather outlive that outlive her for altruistic reasons.
I'm not gonna lie, my reasonings are very selfish and will probably get me in trouble if a future partner listens to this.
Yes, because that's how you're meeting your future wife or husband off the podcast.
I mean, it'd be wife, it would be husband.
Are you sure? Have you seen Andy's new name on Steam?
No, I haven't, and I don't want to see it. I'm fine. No, my reasoning for outliving my partner, right, and this is completely selfish. I want to live longer, but I also, if I outlive them, I'm back on the market. So,
Well,
back on Tinder.
Because there is no defining term of like how old you are when your partner croaks.
Yeah, I'm completely selfish. I'd just rather outlive them. So sorry to any future Mrs. Simply. It's you're kicking the bucket before me.
You realize I'm just gonna like if I ever meet them, it's just gonna be Spudette or something.
But yeah, whatever. Right. Let me see what other ones we got here that I could choose.
Take your time.
Yeah, I'm trying to.
It's not as if we're recording or anything.
I think I'll go with. I mean, this one I'm pretty sure we're both going to agree on as well. Where would you feel worse if no one showed up to your wedding?
I was
going to
ask that. Right. So here's the thing. I don't want a lot of people at my wedding. And two, I'm going to be dead, so I don't give a shit who turns up to my funeral.
Yeah, that's my thinking as well. Is that you're dead, so who gives a fuck?
Yeah, but I don't want a lot of people at my wedding. Like, that's the thing. I want to have a small wedding, like a handful of people invited. Like, people that I actually like.
So is this your way of telling me I'm not invited to your wedding?
No, like, the likes of you, your brother, Andy, I'm going to invite friends instead of family.
Okay, yeah.
Like, that's my whole thing.
Yeah. No, fair. So yes, I'm invited, so that's good. And open bar, yeah.
This is now. Oh, yes.
Yes, it is.
That's the only reason I'm turning up.
Gosh, are you hearing this? It's all about the romance. No, it's not. It's by the open bar, which Remmy is actually paying for.
She's gonna slap me. She's actually gonna slap me when she listens to it. This is now, I think, 3 times I've thrown her under the bus
in the same podcast.
Mistakes have been made. See, to answer the earlier question, live to 100 and have regrets. It's more fun to have regrets sometimes.
You make fun of yourself, yeah. But it's I think we're both in agreement. No one showed up to your funeral. I'd much rather that because, like, I mean, who actually chooses funeral over the wedding?
Well,
I mean, suppose people that fraud. Yeah, I suppose.
I mean,
people that commit fraud, I suppose, maybe.
Is faking your death fraud?
Yes.
Is it? I genuinely didn't know that. So it's actually illegal to. But what if you like pre-warn the government? Like, I'm just doing this because I want to see who actually turns up.
You can't do that.
Oh, why not? Oh, you know there are people out there. Like, would you not be curious to see like who actually turned up and afterwards she's walking to the room and surprised, like, you didn't cry, get out.
No. I wouldn't care, to be honest.
No, like when I die, my funeral is pretty much going to be like my wedding, just without me there. It's just going to be a big piss up. I want everybody to either be smoking a ton of grass or just so drunk that they can't even remember why they're there, and all of a sudden people are taking selfies with my corpse. That's what I want. I want people to have fun, remember the good times. When I wasn't.
I feel like that was a nice answer until you said selfies with the corpse, and then I was like, that's a very hipster thing to say.
Well, we'll have to think of the world we live in here.
Oh dear, who's posting that?
Logan Paul.
Oh dear. Oh dear.
It's okay. It's old news now. It's everybody knows.
Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh dear. Was that my question? Or was that your
That
question?
was
I
my.
can't remember.
No, that was your question because I was going to ask that one.
Oh right, I just took your one. Right, which one were you going for
So I
now?
think we're both big fans of this. Would you rather
Really?
star in a Star Wars film or Marvel?
Yo, I'm gonna say Marvel, right? But
Mm.
the reason I say this,
Because
right,
you don't
is
trust Disney to make a good Star Wars film?
no, actually, it's actually a really stupid reason. If I'm being honest, I think the food looks minging in Star Wars, so I wouldn't want to be in this Star Wars.
Oh, I didn't even think of that. That's a good point.
Like I swear, like I don't think I've ever seen a film with more disgusting food than Star Wars.
I mean, look at some of the
Um,
food they eat in the MCU when like in other planets and like Guardians of the Galaxy and stuff like that, like tentacles and stuff. Pretty much the same thing that you would get in Star Wars.
yes, but then you think of Iron Man, and he's got Burger King.
Dude, I haven't had a Burger King in years. I think the last time I had a Burger King was at an airport, before, like
Yeah.
flying to Egypt or something like that.
I,
Like
I still think it's the
12
probably the most
years.
stupid answer to get the reason to like give you rather star in a Star
I,
Wars film or a Marvel
I
film.
mean, there
No,
are
it's
no
because
stupid answers here except for
like
the really stupid fucking answers.
yeah, like oh, I don't want to star in a Star. I mean, the appeals obviously of Star Wars is obviously like lightsabers and that, but there's no telling. Like I might be Jar Jar Binks, for example. Like it says star in a Star Wars film, so realistically, like I could be Jar Jar Binks, so realistically I could be a character that everyone hates.
Oh, so
But you're
are you taking this as in you have to star as a pre-existing character?
well, no, it's would you rather star in a Star Wars or Marvel film? So, if you had to choose one to actually be an actor in, like in that case, what would you choose? Like, I still say Marvel, if I'm being
In
honest.
terms of like choosing to be an actor, like probably Star Wars. For the fact that I feel like there's more chance for a more mature story. Like, because I prefer
Mm.
more of a dramatic setting. So if I were to act in something, I would prefer to act in something with a bit more drama to it, a bit more tension. Obviously, not modern Star Wars, because well, they can fly now. Yeah, they can fly now. They can always fly. Sorry.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like everything is a bit too friendly in Marvel, which is why like I prefer like the MCU to most DC films, but I think the best DC films are better than the best Marvel films. Like
See,
there's no equivalent in Marvel for the likes of Joaquin Phoenix's Joker, which I think is one of the best films they've released in a long ass time.
it's a star in a film, and I would think like films that it's a hard one because like with Marvel, you've obviously got a massive selection of films, and I'm gonna make a rule on the Marvel one: you can't actually be one of the superheroes. You have to be one of the other characters. And in that sense, then I'm kind of giving you like you kind of think of the ones that like are maybe okay, they're not superheroes, but you think are like oh yeah, I'll go for them. And I'm thinking
Like
of
like an Agent Coulson kind of thing.
kinda yeah, like or like Happy in the Iron Man films. Like I find him hilarious at times.
He's brilliant.
Yeah.
I
You
think I'd
be
still stick with Star Wars.
yeah, and it's like in Star Wars, you can't be one of the main characters. You have to be one of the side characters.
But that's my thing. I wouldn't want to be a pre-existing character. I would want my own. So it's the idea is like you star in it. So you're obviously going to be like a star character. So I would implant
what
a
you
new
say is you
character.
want to make the Star Wars films worse.
I mean, the last three can't get any worse.
I don't know. I mean,
I don't think me being in The Last Jedi can make that film any objectively worse. I just don't think that's possible.
I don't know. I mean, if we were comparing films here, I'd definitely say like the Matrix third film is worse than all three of the Star Wars films.
Oh, I mean, yeah, it is. It is. I would agree with that. No, not Last Jedi. I would rather watch. Was it Matrix Revolutions or what's the last one called? It's Matrix Evolution, and then is it Matrix Revolution?
I don't know.
Because
Just
they were both released in a couple of months apart.
I go by because the second one and the third one have two similar names, and I can't even remember what happens in the second one. If I'm being honest with you,
They just blend together because they were released like I think 2 months apart in the cinema.
yeah, it's really bizarre, that, isn't it? But
Have you
yeah,
seen the
it's
fourth one?
no, I haven't. No,
Oh god, it's bad.
oh, don't tell me that. I was
Oh,
planning
it's
to see it at some point.
bad.
Is
Like
it is
that-
it worse? Is it worse than the third one?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh God!
It's
Jesus!
Worse. It's worse than the third one, in my opinion. Now, I think it's up there with The Last Jedi for being just like
Right.
such a blot on the franchise. A franchise that already has like a bad film in it.
Hmm.
Like Star Wars has the Christmas special, but Matrix has Matrix 4.
I don't know. I think I need to watch it to actually form my own opinion on that.
I mean, I'm a
Um,
massive fan of Keanu Reeves, but not even he
Mhm.
could save that. Maybe he just needs to play characters that don't really feel much. his facial range isn't the most
yeah.
extensive, let's say.
Well, like Nicolas Cage.
Oh no, that man has an Oscar. He is a great actor.
Yeah, but I think his range, like actual emotional range, isn't that great, except for the one meme that came out of it,
Yeah.
which I don't know if you know the one I'm on about, where it's like kind of creepy face.
No, I think you need to watch Leaving Las Vegas. That's a really. I think that's the one he won the Oscar for. Like a guy dealing with
Mhm.
addiction and stuff. It's a truly amazing film.
May give it a watch. I think we've gone off topic a little bit. Oh yeah, you asked, would you rather star in the Star Wars or Marvel film?
So
There.
I'd rather star in Star Wars.
Yeah, I think I'd rather. I think there's just a lot more options
Mm.
for Marvel, and I stand by the food. I mean, it's a very fat answer, that, if I'm being honest. Like, oh yeah, prioritize
I'm
where the
quite
food is.
adventurous when it comes to trying new things.
Yeah,
I'll suck down some blue goop.
like I could go in a 4 film. You know what I mean? Like, and like have loads of wine.
What, Fat Thor? I'm sorry, man. That was so unnecessary.
No. For Ragnarok is one of my favorite films because of Korg.
Fuck you,
My name's
guys.
Korg. My name's Korg. Try to start a revolution. Didn't print enough pamphlets.
No, I'd agree. I love that character. It's a shame what they done with the fourth film.
Yeah, I'd love to be Korg in that one. I mean, trying to think of other ones actually now. Though I like to be Rocket as well in the obviously the Guardians of the Galaxy
being
one.
Scottish. I would rather you be Drax. that would be interesting because you've got dead humor sometimes, and that's the kind of like Drax is like deadpan humor. I meant to say deadpan, not dead humor. Like deadpan.
I have mastered the skill of being perfectly still.
I think that would be a fun one, but honestly, I would rather appear in a Marvel film based boots on the ground, not Galactic, which is the exact opposite reason behind my picking Star Wars. Funny enough, because there's nothing. Everything based on Earth. Yes, it's obviously a science fiction film. They're all based on comics and stuff like that. But you're still on Earth for most of it. Whereas there's going to be very, very, very few things in that universe that seem normal to you. I'd rather be thrown in the comfort zone.
I've got the next question, right?
All right.
And so this one is: would you rather be able to talk to animals or speak all foreign languages?
All foreign languages.
Yeah, I am the same on the pure reason that I think talking to animals is a dumb answer. If you choose to talk to animals, what benefit does that actually serve?
I mean, I really want to know what this dog is thinking, or it wants to say, bark.
Yeah, no, it would literally just say, "I'm hungry, I'm excited." Yes,
like people thinking they have these long drawn out conversations with animals. Yeah, but they don't think like us. Like what?
Yeah,
it would be like having a conversation with a Manchester City supporter. Like you're not gonna get much out of them. It's gonna be.
Yeah.
They're a little bit simple. Whereas
Yeah,
if you can
like,
speak all foreign languages, there's no. You could walk into any. Like, there's so many jobs you could do all around the world. You can walk into any
there's
country.
only a select amount of animals that would be worth talking to.
Like I think a
Like,
dolphin would be good crack.
yeah, dolphin, elephant, you know,
Anything
because
with a level of sentience to it.
yeah, I'm
Like an
trying to
art.
think of it.
I'd like to talk to an aardvark.
Weird animal to choose.
It's good because it's like one of my
you,
favorite things to say.
you know the only benefit I could think of being able to talk to animals, right, is I'd be interested to know if they would have accents as well, if for wherever region they're from.
Bark.
Right? Like, would a kangaroo have an Australian accent? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'd be curious to know that. Like, does he? Does he?
I would
Like,
love to hear a Qatari squirrel.
Did they have Did they have squirrels? In
I
Qatar?
don't know. I'm just like I don't know. Like because I don't
Yeah,
want to say camel. It's too stereotypical.
Yeah, because I think it'd be too hot for squirrels, and I don't think
Firing acorns down at you. Go salam alaikum.
like that's ropey. That
No, that's not ropey. It's literally a greeting. It's a peaceful thing. Salam alaikum. It's actually quite a nice thing in Arabic.
Oh, there you go then. I mean, I don't know why the squirrels would be saying that constantly. I mean, in my opinion,
because I don't want to say anything racist, bud.
No. It's more because I think squirrels are arseholes, so I think they wouldn't say anything nice. I mean, if any, like, again, I'm right on this answer. Any one of you that have different answers, you're all wrong.
Squirrels are dicks.
You
just look at them and you know they're planning something.
You know full well if they could speak, they just say nasty things to you. So, aye, yeah. Speaking all foreign languages would be an easy one, because like again, there's no bounds of how useful that would be. And yeah, it just makes things a lot easier in general. Rightio, your turn. Give me another one.
See, I want to ask this one, but I think it's kind of a stupid question because I think we're going to pick the same answer. Would you rather win the lottery, but have to spend it all in a single day, or triple your current income? I'd rather triple my current income because, like,
I'd rather have win the lottery and spend it in one day.
Why?
Because like the lottery is a hell of a lot of money, and you can do a hell of a lot with that money. Nothing says that you can.
There's only so much time in that one day. You think of all these things that you would want to do, yeah, but realistically, think about how long it actually takes to like purchase a car, purchase a house. You can't do that most of that stuff in one day. You need to go through like insurance and all that crap, like brokers.
Money opens up doors. Like if you
handles open doors.
Oh, what a knob. Yeah, no. I would just look at like basically, okay, with that £1 million or something like that, I'd invest in Bitcoin. I've just bought Bitcoin in that sense. Realistically, you could spend all that money in one day. Nothing says the rules that you can't like invest that money or buy things that you can then sell later with the money. It just says that you have to spend it all in one day. But
here's the thing: imagine getting like £120,000 a year for doing your current job.
If I was to triple my salary, I wouldn't get £120,000.
Oh well, I'm just being theoretical. Like, okay, 90,000. Imagine getting £90,000 a year for doing your current job.
I wouldn't get £90,000 a year either.
Just answer the question. Like
if I was to get 90,000, the problem is, right, if you were to triple your salary, you'd also get triple the tax. So realistically, if you're earning £90,000, you're gonna get what tax? 30%?
40% over. I think it's like anything over 42,000. You start getting taxed 40%. I'm not entirely sure on that.
Yeah. So realistically, you're not getting as much money as you think you are.
Yes, but like. For the amount of income that I have at the minute, and then obviously with Gasho working and making more. Oh yeah, making more than me. It's like there are not many things that I can't realistically buy. Like if I just save up for it. Like I'm thinking of things that I would realistically want, and like I'm not talking about if I wanted to buy a Bugatti, I could. Like no, I couldn't. But if I
I
wanted
don't
to go
know.
buy a brand new gaming laptop, or even just buy like a full on gaming PC, a new TV, new gaming chair, new guitar, like a £1,200 guitar, like yeah, I can just go out and do that, which I have done. Like a £700 amp, which I will be doing. Like there's not much that I can't have with my with.
Don't get me wrong. I get the appeal of getting like $5,000 a week. Or no, tripling your salary. Sorry. Not saying you get $5,000 a week. That's another question. Entirely. But like, I don't know. It's just it wouldn't be long. Like,
So
I
like
think it's very
12,
subjective.
imagine like getting like £1,200 a week.
I think it depends on who you're asking that question to,
Mm.
really, because it depends on what their salary is at the time. I'm not earning an awful lot right now, so in real terms, it's not going to be amazing, life changing money if I was to triple my salary right now. Well, winning the lottery would be life changing money. Even if I had to spend it in one day, I could buy investments.
You could buy
With it.
investments, but again, it comes down to like the time frame of how, like you said, like buying £1 million worth of Bitcoin. But realistically, how long does it take for that to go through? Everything has to be authenticated. Like those kinds of transactions, like transactions of that magnitude, take days or weeks to be
Well, I could
processed and
just
go through.
invest it all into Soul Rare, and then listen, team. If you haven't already checked out Soul Rare,
Ah,
check out my
I'm
link in the
not playing
description.
it. Stop.
It's NFTs. It's all It's all Ethereum. You know, so listen, team. It's there. I can invest it all into that, and I'd be the richest person in Soul Rare. And then have all these NFTs that I could just literally, you know. I could sell at a later date or try and double my money. If I had the football knowledge. This week I've done awful because I picked players that didn't play. But that's a different story. In fairness, I just feel like if I had a day where I knew, okay, I have to spend it all today. Even if I was only given 4 hours, I think I'd still pick the £1,000,000 because I feel like I know roughly what I would go for immediately.
See, here's where I put this down to. Are you? Because I consider myself, I'm very, very, very good with finances, so that's why I would pick the triple thing. Because if I had triple the money I'm earning right now, I wouldn't give a shit about the extra millions, because I think if you ever like speak to somebody who has that kind of money, it's kind of boring. You become very lonely, and it becomes very boring. Like obviously it's only in one day, but then
Oh,
if you
who gives a fuck? I've got all these investments. So bye, friends.
you need to stop listening to Andrew Tate.
So Rare also give you free tickets
Oh my God.
they give you free tickets for Premier League games. Are you telling me if I said to you tomorrow, see you were really annoyed about you hated my guts, but I had the Champions League final tickets where Man United were playing, you wouldn't take me up on that offer?
Yeah, I'm taking you up on that offer. Of course
exactly.
Because
yeah, which I only got because of my millions with Sonar. So exactly.
I don't really care about money, but I'm not an idiot. Of course, I'm taking that.
Yeah. So that's the kind of it's a team member to click that link in the description. I wasn't going to put it in this video, but I'm now putting it in. So
and he's not even sponsored. He's not even sponsored by this shit.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Yes, but I am going to do a stream explaining it because it is quite complicated.
I'll tell you what. If you can manage to get the podcast sponsored by what is it? Soul Rare?
So rare, yeah.
So Rare. I'll play it.
Yes.
That is my contingency.
Yeah. Well, who knows? They're sponsoring a lot of people. So who knows? They sponsor Tony, by the way.
I'm gonna be so mad if you get a sponsorship and I actually have to play this shit. It's really gonna bug me because I've already said it and it's out there now. So
yeah, there you go. Right, whose turn is it? By the way?
It's your turn.
It's my turn, right? We'll find this out later. But yeah, no, it is my turn. It is my turn. Right. Okay, let's have a look. This one. This is a good one. Would you rather glow whenever you are in the mood, or never be able to enjoy sex again?
What is the point of this question? What do you mean glow?
So every time that you're horny, you basically glow. Like people will know at that point. Like you are like a light at this point. Like you could light up a room at this point.
Or never be able to enjoy sex. I'd rather glow. I don't like. I'm a very open and honest person. Like I do not care if somebody knows it. Like I would actually say, I'm a little bit horny. Like I don't care. It doesn't make a difference to me if they know. They're not getting any. I'm engaged. Like, if I turn around and say to Gasha, like, I'm horny, so she's probably like, yeah, me too. Like, she's Polish. That's how that works. Like, the whole thing, like, I would never want to not enjoy sex, like, because then you would never want to have sex, and then she would leave me.
Oh dear.
I feel like I've derailed your expectations for where you thought that was gonna go.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what I would go for. From being honest with you, I think, in all honesty, I would maybe go and never be able to enjoy sex again. If I'm being honest, I just think of all the situations immediately where the glow is really inappropriate. Like,
oh yeah, you're at your nan's funeral. All of a sudden, you're carrying the coffin, and you start shining like the beacon of Gondor.
Because you know what it is like being a guy. You just randomly,
I've tried explaining this to Gasha before. By the way, it's like, because women out there, guys, listen to this. You just can back this up. If your partner turns around and asks you, "Is this true?" Just back me up here. The random boner.
Yeah,
it happens.
Yeah, so it's like, yeah, you would just inappropriate times, and the problem is everyone would know. So this is where that's where my mind goes immediately.
I'm making some old fella a coffee, and all of a sudden I start glowing. Oh,
see that's why I'm thinking.
I would find that funny though.
As long as you know what, as long as the other person's enjoying it, then I would be fine with it. If I'm being honest.
No, you don't have to. You don't have to glow. When you're glowing, you don't have to. You know, whoever's there in front of you, you have to drop try. That's not the question.
No. That's not what I mean. No. No.
You just start glowing. If you've been selected, love. No.
This is not the Hunger Games, right? Don't volunteer as tribute. Oh dear. No, I think I choose
in
never.
people's door while they're going in it. I volunteer as tribute.
Just see the glow and if it gets divine intervention. I mean, no, I think mine would be never be able to enjoy sex again. As long as my partner was enjoying it, I think I'd be fine with it.
Really? So you would just be going through the motions then?
Yeah, at that point, it's like as long as they're like fine, that's fine. I just think the glow would be just so inconvenient as well. Because I also think is the fact that I stream as well. And whenever imagine I just randomly got it when I'm stream, I just imagine the chat as well.
Oh, but that's content.
Like
that's content, man.
It's not content I want.
I don't care if it's the content you want. It's the content you need.
Oh dear, this isn't the Dark Knight, you know. It's like not the hero that Gotham deserves.
You start glowing. Right, we're going to take a quick 20-minute break from the stream, guys.
Oh man.
I will be back. So you come back panting and sweating. The glow's gone. Where were you? Nowhere.
Oh no, yeah. It's also the thing that sometimes you would be unaware that you're in the mood as well. Like, because obviously sometimes you don't immediately.
What, is it
doesn't
just
immediately
your face
click.
that's glowing?
No, your whole body.
How would you not know if your hand starts glowing?
No, but like you know how sometimes you don't even know it. Sometimes it just like obviously. Oh, you look down. Oh, right, okay.
Oh yeah, okay.
Exactly. You know what I mean? But this way, like literally, there's no way of not knowing.
Gosh, it doesn't believe me about that, by the way. It just happens.
It does happen, team. Just beware, right?
I may have just fixed relationships.
Yeah.
What were you watching? I swear it just happens. Sitting here watching a Sidemen video. She walked in, all of a sudden I've got a rager. It just happens. We're not in control.
I feel like you're gonna go through these questions with Gosha as well to see what she says. But yeah, team, let me know what you think on that one in the comments below, if you want to. Right, Remy, it's your turn on this one. What's next?
Would you rather always speak your mind or remain silent for the rest of your life? I always speak my mind anyway.
Yeah, but I think in this one it's more like you cannot keep anything at all from anyone. So in this sense,
I'm
it's
quite
like
bad for that though.
yeah, but in this case, say for example, right, someone's got a really bad like breakout of spots and stuff like that. You just go to them and say
Have a
you're an
pizza?
ugly fuck. You know,
Facing
like
the dartboard? Yeah, I get it. But
yeah, so you know
that's not
and
speaking your mind.
and you
That's
work in
blurting
customer
out.
and you yeah, but that is speaking your like that's on your mind in that sense.
But
Like
that's not like saying the first thing that comes to your mind. That's like speaking your mind. There's a difference there.
Yeah.
Because I always speak my mind, but I don't say the first thing that pops into it.
Yeah, but this one it says you have to speak your mind. So in this case, if it's in your mind, you have to speak it. So that's the way that I interpret the question, if I'm being honest. So in that sense, it's like
what way do you interpret the second one? Because I interpret that as in just not speaking at all, like mute.
Yeah, that's the way I interpret the second one. So it's like either you're always like say rude, or very very forward.
I'm rude anyway.
Yeah. Like, because you'd also, I mean, I also think of like how PG your mind is sometimes.
God! Oh God!
Yeah. So, and you work in customer service.
Okay, that's a good point.
Yeah.
But then I couldn't work in customer service. I couldn't do my current job anyway because if I can't talk,
yeah,
I'm screwed. I'm screwed either way.
Well,
so
no,
I'm gonna choose the funny option.
You could work if you were mute. You could make coffee. You just have to take instruction. In that case,
yeah, no.
Like
that doesn't work because there's legal thing with certain like allergens and stuff like that. You have to ask people questions. You couldn't be able to do the job.
I mean, yeah, but like you could also like write these questions down and they tick them or something.
What, just have a bloody hand them a clipboard every time I go to make coffee.
Yeah, but there is workarounds in that sense. Like if you were mute, I think. No, I think I would go speak my mind if I'm being honest.
Yeah, see.
Yeah, like I'm trying to make a case for the other one, but I think I'd speak my mind if I'm being honest.
Well, I'm not surprised because like being eternally, you could never do the podcast or stream.
Yeah, because I talk a lot of crap anyway, so I'm kind of like, well,
yeah, but that's why we're here.
Yeah, so that's why I'm kind of like, oh, I don't know. Aye, yeah. No worries. Right, okay. We'll move on from that one there. Cause I would speak my mind, and we already know that you would speak your mind.
Yeah.
Right. Right. Here's one for you. If you want to make this the last, would you rather, and then we'll move on to the next one. Right.
Okay.
So, would you rather lick the bus every time you got on it, or never be able to? Oh, actually, no. Actually, you know what? No, I'm gonna change that. I'm gonna change this one. Right. Right. So in this case, right, you've either got to lick the first passenger that's on any public transport, or never be able to use public transport again.
Never use public transport.
So if you get on a train, you have to lick the first. You get on a plane, you have to lick the first person.
I don't use public transport anyway.
Yeah. So it. Well, I don't know. It's
because
like
taxis, taxis, that's private transport. That's not public.
Yeah,
like, you can get a public taxi, but I use private taxis.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, no, you know what? I'm gonna change the rules. The taxis are included in public transport. Because you can ring the number to get it, so the public can use that service.
Yeah, but not the same taxi.
Yeah, not the same one. So in that case, you just like the driver. And you know what? I will allow you to explain it to the passenger. I don't know how you would explain it.
I have a severely inappropriate case of Tourette's. Excuse me while I lick your forehead, Simba.
So
you're getting lynched. Like imagine you walk in, big fat Bob's driving the taxi, fucking arms on him like sledgehammers, and you just, oh by the way, mate, I'm just gonna give you a quick lick. No.
Oh dear. So, on that one, what are you choosing? Are you still choosing never be able to use public transport?
I'm choosing never be able to use public transport. I don't want to lick people. I don't like people.
Honestly, I would pick lick the passenger every time.
So do you want to go back to the whole invisible thing and being a pervert?
No, it's because I not being able to use, so that means I could never use a plane. So it means that like if I can basically I'd be stuck in the same country. You wouldn't be able to use boats. You wouldn't be able to use planes. You wouldn't be able to use.
Are
Unless,
planes defined as public transport? Because what way I've like public transport is to me like buses, trains, and public taxis.
nah,
That's like public
but
transport.
yeah, but planes are public
I mean,
again.
they are public, but it's still a different form of transport.
I'd say I'd still class it as public, because like you know it's like everyone. So realistically, the difference between a plane and a bus is one goes in the sky, you know.
Yeah.
So it's like you know, like it is the case of I mean, obviously you can't stop it randomly and get off. Um,
Right, so
yeah,
whether freight or passenger, the aircraft must be certified as public transport to market flights. Yeah.
yeah.
So the
So
legal
so
regime ensures the greatest
so
security for
yeah,
passengers
so you got to use you either got to learn to
Mm.
fly.
or learn to
Uh,
lick.
Yeah, so I think I just like the first pass. It's like, listen, you know, I'm really sorry about this, but I've got to lick your face, um, and yeah, sorry about this, and then just lick them, and yeah, they might get really irate, and I might get chucked off the plane, but or they might like it, which would also be equally disturbing. But you know, each their own. Um,
That's a really hard because planes because I just wouldn't have considered them
I,
public
I
transport.
think you become really good at explaining it after quite a few times. Like you'd find a way that people would accept it. I think.
I don't know if acceptance is in the cards here, man. I'm gonna be completely honest. Like if you
or you have a higher rate of success.
you can have a higher rate of success, but you're gonna have a higher rate of success with perverts. And like, because let's face it, a bloke is gonna be more accepting of that kind of thing than a woman. Like let's be yeah,
Yeah.
like you lick right. Okay, I've got this condition. Blah blah blah. It's like go on, lad. The other try to do that. Explain that to a woman. You're getting pepper sprayed because
Yeah.
then it's a case of like you could turn around and say you could play the condition card.
Mm.
Oh, she's
Yeah,
oh
I,
she's
I,
fit.
think
Like,
I think I still like to be. I just couldn't imagine not using like planes and trains and stuff like that. Being honest.
planes, trains, and automobiles.
Yeah. So yeah, I think it. I mean, yeah, I've chosen that one. Right.
Oh, that's fair.
Okay. We've made that one the last one then, right? So time for story time.
Ooh.
Story time. So as I said, I think. Shut up.
Sorry.
So as I said in the last podcast, the fact that obviously I think it was the last one, the one before that, where I said the fact that I was going to talk about my time in youth work.
Yes.
And obviously this one, this story I've got in particular, I don't know if I have told you, Remy. I probably have at some
You've told
point.
me quite a few. But...
Yes. So I'm hoping that this one I might have I told you. Well, I might not have. I hope I haven't actually. So basically, yes, team. I used to work in youth work for a while. We used to work in all these kind of deprived areas, and where like we got people coming in with all sorts of different problems, different circumstances that would basically were life threatening. Some of them, and some of them were just really really bad situations. That ranged literally from being homeless to being unable to leave the house sometimes because the partner wouldn't let them. You know, you'd have all these kind of circumstances where people were coming in, and this one incident in particular always sticks in my mind because of several reasons. Now I'll give you a bit of background on this one. Basically, there was this kid that was coming in every week, and we knew full well that his parents had split up, and that it wasn't a great circumstances at home. He lived with his mother, but he saw his dad quite regularly. And we also knew that his mother was also a drug addict as well.
Oh.
We knew that off the kind of just through the grapevine that we knew that. So and this kid was really nice. Like I should add, like whenever he was in the club, he's always like laughing and making jokes and stuff like that. Really nice kid and stuff like that. But one day he comes in to the club and he's crying immediately. He's already crying. And we're like, okay, we take him in the office and kind of ask him what's up, what's going on and stuff like that. And it turns out basically his dad had given him 40 quid, right, to go buy a PlayStation game, and he had given his mum £10 and he had kept 30 for himself, and then his mum had beaten him because it wasn't the other way round. And when we had questioned the mum about this, she claimed it was for contraception. Like she needed it, the money for that, which is one of the worst excuses I've ever heard in my life, for that. And when the child heard this, right, when he had heard this, he basically, without missing a beat, blurted out, "I don't know what she needs contraception for. No one's shagging her." And at that point, I'm sitting in the corner. I'm sitting in the corner going, "Go on, son." And at another point, I'm like, I cannot laugh. This is an inappropriate situation to laugh. But holy fuck, what an answer! He's just given it.
Go on, wee man.
And yeah, obviously at that point, because we got police involved and all sorts. But I kept thinking to myself, I go, "Fucking what a reply that was."
What a hero.
Go on, mate. So yeah, that's one story from my time at youth work. But fuck me, that is like one of the best replies I've ever heard, or like counter replies to like some like, basically calling someone out and bullshit I've ever heard of. I can't remember fully what happened to the mum after. I think it was I think she I can't remember. I think she got arrested. I can't remember.
Well, I'm assuming she was arrested because
it's a hard one sometimes to prove though that's happened. It depends on where the bruises are, and like obviously, like if the child's also wanting to kind of, it's hard. There's a lot of red tape.
There's a lot of ambiguity.
Basically, I do believe he did. I do believe that he went to live with his dad after that. But his dad didn't have a great place for him to live, so that's why he wasn't there in the first place. So, but I don't actually know what's happened since then. I think I only saw him maybe once or twice after that because his dad lived a bit further away. But yeah, that's one of the best replies I've ever heard ever, calling someone out in bullshit. Okay, so there's a bit of a shorter story for us today, but
still
I've got plenty
one.
More. Yeah, I've got plenty more. So team, now is the time in the podcast where Remmy has a query for us, and this is a part of the podcast and where I have absolutely no input whatsoever. I don't know what the question is going to be beforehand, but Remmy's going to ask us a question, and basically I'll try my best to give the best possible reply for it. But it could be literally anything. We could get cancelled today, for all I know.
I told you before we started recording, I had two in mind, and I was kind of hoping, like, during the course of the podcast, that what way we were going would kind of give me a lean towards one or the other. But no, so now I'm just having to go and pick on the spot. So my question for you, Remy's query for you today: how do you measure success?
Oof, that's a tough one. I measure success on, I don't know. There's a lot of ways, and there's a lot of kind of like.
Well, to make it easier, do you want me to give you my answer for that?
Go for it. You know what? Go for it. Yeah.
Right. So my measurement for success is simply not standing still. It's moving forward. If you're standing still, then you're failing. If you're moving forward, then you don't have to be like, having millions to be successful. All you need to be successful in life is to be consciously moving forward, whether that be with your job, relationships, hobbies, anything. As long as you're making an active choice to move forward and not stand still, you can define that as success because you're willingly putting in the work and effort to either make your life better or something. You're not standing still, because as the old running water never goes stale kind of thing, Bruce Lee.
Yeah. All right. Okay. I mean, I'm kind of, success for me is more internal success. So if I feel like I've done really good on something,
Mm.
I will say for the fact that that is successful for me. So
An
say, for
achievement.
example, yeah, let me put it in the context of, say, YouTube, for example. Yes, I could say success is down to how many views I've got on something, how many subscribers I've got. But it's also like, if I edited this video better than I did the previous, have I improved this on what I did before? Am I better than what I was yesterday? Um, that's maybe another way I would look at it. If I acted better, or if I improved in some aspect, whether that's finding a way to make someone else happy or finding a way to kind of help myself. So it's a hard question to answer how you measure success. But for me personally, I would say it's more kind of internally, like, am I happy with what I'm doing? Am I happy with how I've reacted to situations?
So it's your internal sense of achievement and validation.
Yeah, like, it's obviously as well. I don't think you can get away from measuring success as well for also in kind of um materialistic sense as well. Like,
No,
if
that's
you
not what I meant by like you can apply what I
yeah,
said to like your like what you're saying as well. It's like
yeah.
as long as you feel that you're moving forward, it can be applied to anything.
Yeah, I don't think you can also ignore the fact, though, is if, say, for example, you do make millions,
Mm.
or something like that, that is also success. It
Like
is
I do
very
feel more
much based.
successful that I'm moving up the ladder at what the current company I'm working at. Like that aspect of it is always going to be there. Like you're never
Yeah,
going to escape that materialistic sense of your wage, like reflecting your sense of worth.
yeah. You know what? Because you've said you had two questions, give me the second one as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Well, I'll have to think of a new one for next week. Okay.
yeah.
Um, what are you holding on to in life that's currently holding you back?
Oh, bloody hell, that is a hard one. Oh, it's Jesus. Oh, that's deep.
Well, you told me to make these thinkers.
Oh, fudge. What am I holding on to that's holding me back? Um,
Again, do you want me to go first for this? Give you a second to
no,
think.
no. And this one, I'll answer.
Okay.
I will find a way. I try to think, though. It's like,
Do you
what is actually, like, holding? Maybe my health. Actually, if I'm being honest.
Hmm.
But then I'm not holding on to that. So it's like something I'm actually physically holding on to.
Well, you don't have to physically hold on. Like it could be subconsciously, psychologically.
I think realistically, if I'm I'm a big introvert.
Hmm.
Like realistically, over camera, I can put it on, but I would willingly choose to not go somewhere if I feel there's going to be too many people there. And that could be like literally if so there was a bar I used to go to quite regularly, and I if it was a Saturday night, I'd deliberately choose not to because there's just a load
Too
of
many
people
people.
there. Yeah, sometimes I would go on a Sunday instead, where it would only be about 12, 13 people in the bar.
See,
But I would
I
miles
prefer
prefer
that.
that. Yeah.
I don't like
So,
crowds.
but yeah, I like that's also held me back from what I know full well that I would have much better social skills. If I feel like it realistically me choosing not to actively go out and kind of like right now, if I was to say like kind of actual friends I have that are around me, I think it's very, very few. If in all honesty, I actually struggle to name one that I could ring up right now and say, okay, we'll go meet up, because I willingly choose not to.
For the record, people, I live in a different country, so
Yeah, yeah, because I've had a lot of basically isolated myself for the past 3-4 years, and so friends that I've had over this period of time, I mean, obviously, I say isolate, COVID obviously took part in that as well, but
yeah.
realistically, I've kind of isolated myself, and with that, I feel like I would have had miles better social skills in person, which I'd also be able to take to like YouTube and stuff like that.
Do you feel
If I'd
that
gone out more.
do you feel like the podcasting, doing the podcast, streaming, creating content on YouTube, do you feel like that's helping?
Yes and no. Because when you create when you're actually creating it, like actually making the podcast, that's great. When you're streaming, that's great. You're engaging. When you stop streaming, all of a sudden you're by yourself. And like you got to
Mm,
think of the amount of time that you actually spend off camera is always going to be significantly more.
yeah.
And you got to think of the fact that I then also got to edit it as well. So then I spent ages editing. So typically speaking, if I'm editing, say this podcast is an hour, I will spend typically 2 to 3 hours editing. After the podcast. So that so a lot of it takes a lot of time, and realistically, it's kind of a lonely path to take because I can't when I'm editing, I can't be in Discord, I can't be watching something, I can't be engaging with because I've got to be fully focused on the edit.
Mm.
So it's yeah, it's a lonely place to be, but at the same time,
Making me feel sad here. It's okay.
I'm
It'll
also
change when I move the
yeah,
when we
yeah,
move.
but I'm also okay with it. If I'm being honest, I'm
You enjoy
also
your company.
I enjoy my own company. So realistically, if I had to say something that was holding me back, I think realistically, if I was more outgoing, I would have developed better social skills than what I actually have now. Now I should add, when I do socialize, it has been said to me beforehand that I bring a lot of energy and stuff like that, which I do because I don't typically get embarrassed when I'm
Mm.
going out. So realistically, I tend to be a bit quite flamboyant. However, that energy does not last for very long. Realistically, I maybe
I wouldn't
I'm
say
good for
flamboyant. I'd say more rambunctious.
like yeah, potentially. I would also like realistically if I'm going out, I used to sometimes just like if people were having a night out, I maybe only go for maybe 2 hours at
Mm.
most. Like and that's more because that's the level of amount of social engagement I was able to take. So yeah, realistically, I would say yeah, if someone's holding me back, I'd say it's probably that. Being honest, I think that's the main thing for me. I think realistically, if I went out more, I would have developed better social skills, which then also I feel like would benefit my content significantly better. So realistically, we could have been bigger than what we actually are, in that sense.
Mm.
Right. What about yourself?
See, for me, it's quite a tough one because of how I deal with things, and in life,
Mm-hmm.
I always try to move on, move forward. So I
Mm-hmm.
tend to not hold on to things. But there's one thing that I sort of cannot let go of, and it's like
Mm-hmm.
whether this is tied to some sort of belief system or uh, what way I was raised. Like I cannot. So obviously everybody knows that I'm a big fan of Vikings, and not the TV
Mm-hmm.
show, like the people, the Norse pantheon and everything like that. I am very much tied to my sense of honor and like sense of duty that I have to like follow through on. It can be perceived as both a good and a bad thing, but there have been a
So,
lot,
so
a
just
lot.
to just to clarify on that one, do you mean is it more like kind of the stereotype, you know, about where it's like kind of men versus women? Is that the kind of avenue you're
Oh
going
no,
down?
no! It's like it's my
All right.
sense. Like I will often do things that I really don't want to do to help somebody that I really don't want to help because I feel like I have a duty to do it. Like my sense of loyalty, honor, like that comes before myself. Like
All right, I understand. Yeah.
and so like, if you sort of look at like the Viking code of conduct, like you live your life with honor, whether you like what you're doing or you don't like what you're doing, you live your life with honor. Now, how people define that can be a subjective thing, but I do feel like especially career wise, like up until now, I've always been held back by my sense of loyalty and duty. Like especially when I was in construction, and when I was a chef, like I would stand up for people when I really should have just kept my mouth shut.
Mm-hmm.
Like I would point out, especially in construction, like uh, they don't like so when I was working a job putting cladding or well the insulation on. I was putting insulation onto a wall, and then you'd have the brickwork was going up on side of it. So I looked down. So I did the couple floors beneath, like down the sort of like the gap between the brick facade and the insulation, and for a few floors on that corner of the building, none. So yeah, like for brickwork, you have like these metal things like attached to the building, and then where the mortar goes onto, so that's what's called tying it into the wall.
Mm-hmm.
I pointed that out to the site foreman and to the company that was handling the brickwork. The next day, I was let go, And the day after that, they had taken down three levels of the brick to put it back up. So like I cost myself the job there, but it's a case of like, what if like years down the line that had to come off and somebody had to died? Like I wouldn't be able to. Now, I
Mhm.
could cope with it, but I wouldn't be able to, like, in conscious and in full well knowing that I made the active decision not to do the dutiful thing there. Like it
Mhm.
holds me back, but it's also at the same time something that does push me forward. Does push me forward slightly, because like, whether I people's idea of what the right thing to do is always going to be up for contention. But for me, right and wrong isn't a sense of what somebody thinks is the good thing to do. It's what, like, the moral decision, whether it's morally bad or morally good. Like, you can do something that is, because I would do something that somebody might perceive like that's a bad thing to do. Like just telling somebody they're wrong for what they're doing, despite they have full faith in believing that what they're doing is right. Like it makes them happy. It's like, no, this is wrong. It's what you're doing is hurtful and harmful. Uh, but somebody needs to be the person to say that. It gets me in a lot of trouble, especially in a professional sense. It has gotten me in so much trouble over the years. But I feel like I'm actually in a position now to, especially in management, where it's it's starting to benefit me more. It's like with
Mhm.
the lower down you are in the chain, that's that terrible trait to have.
No, fair enough. There you go. I mean, I've not got really much more to say on it, if I'm being honest. It's just gonna, you know, what, both questions were good, Remy. This week, I
Thank
know
you.
obviously you were only gonna do one, but after the first one, it's like, no, just do the second one, because you got a whole week to come up with another one.
Oh,
With these three.
I've got a list of things. It's just there were the two that I had picked out for this. I've got a
Cool.
list of things.
No, fair enough. Right, team. Well, on that one, we're going to end the podcast there. Thank you very much for listening or watching the podcast. It is much appreciated. If you haven't already, please do subscribe and hit that like button and comment as well what you think as well if you can. If you're watching this or listening to this, I should say, on Spotify, Apple Music, your Nan's TV, make sure you are following the podcast on any channel that you can. It does help us out massively.
Also,
I
don't
do
forget to hit the notification icon on YouTube so that you get notified whenever some new content comes out.
Yeah, that too.
There we
Uh,
go.
that too as well. Yeah, listen, you're a natural. There you go.
Oh,
Yeah, team. Thank you very much for sticking with this podcast, and make sure you do let your thoughts known in the comments. Obviously, I would love to read some of the comments and hear some of your thoughts, on particularly some of the would you rather's. And if you have any other would you rather's, obviously put them in the comments. I would love to read them as well.
never know,
Uh,
they might appear on the show.
Yes, and team, make sure that you're also following on other socials as well. Obviously, I do stream on YouTube, so again, subscribe there. I do stream on Twitch. I stream on TikTok. Even if it is an awful platform, go follow me on TikTok. And yeah, my team as well. Follow me on Twitter as well, because if you want to hear any updates on what's happening on the podcast or any other content that we're producing, I've got a really big video coming out soon. Probably the best video that you'll ever watch this year. Make sure that you are subscribed and following Twitter for that. Any updates on that, because I cannot wait to release this video. I cannot wait.
I've seen snippets
Um,
of it, and mm,
yes,
um,
it's the best editing I've ever done. Put it that way. So yes, team, thank you very much for listening. Adios for now. I'll catch you in the next one.
ciao.